All right, I want to make sure everybody can hear us on YouTube. As you come on to the stream, make sure you guys say something. I want to make sure our volume is working. Look, so somebody asked, we get this question right here all the time. The question is, if I got bad credit, am I able to get a business loan? The question could be yes, if you have a lot of income, because you can get different types of MCAs, merchant cash advance. You can get things like that if you're making money. But if you want the most amount of money from a business line of credit or loan, I would make sure that I actually have good credit. You know, make sure you got good credit. That supersedes everything. Like,
Most definitely.
you could actually have a business that's not bringing in a whole lot of income because they have these stated programs out there with no docs.
Yep.
So one of the biggest things I want to say in the beginning, I'll say this again, over and over again, make sure you're organized. Make sure your LLC is set up correctly. Make sure your EIN is set up correctly. Then make sure you got an email, a phone number, and then get an office like with Regis or something like that to get a real address. Don't use a P.O. box.
Most definitely.
These are all the ways you can actually get declined. Now you're thinking, okay, Marvin, give me a lender, give me a lender. We can name lenders all day: Chase, Wells Fargo, Navy Federal, but that might not be right for you or your business.
Yes.
What you need to do, I tell people this all the time, the best bank to deal with is the bank that's close to your home or close to your business. That's the best bank to deal with. Most people, they try their best to listen to TikTok, listen to Instagram, listen to YouTube to find the secret lender. A lot of the lenders are right in your backyard. All you got to do is look for those lenders and get set up with them.
And let me say this. Okay, that's a great point, Marvin.
Right.
But the flip side to this is that Marvin and I have a ton of lenders.
Right.
Like, we have so many lenders, you go be dreaming about these lenders and
Right.
you sleep.
Right.
That's how many you can sleep for several days and wake up and
we
still have lenders.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of lenders out there. And like I stated before, like a lot of these lenders, like your big boy lenders that we
Right.
all know and
Right.
love.
Right.
Bank of America, the Chases, the Cities, all
Right.
of those. Okay. There's so many other banks out there that are much better than these banks.
Yeah.
But these are the mainstream banks that we know. But everybody's missing out on this quiet, kept secret of all these other banks out there that's dropping real money.
Right.
Like, for example, a lot of the business owners, I'm not going to say all of us, but a lot of business owners ended up going to the SBA for the pandemic, during
Right.
the pandemic, because they loosened up the requirements.
Right.
Before it used to be, oh my God, the SBA wanted your blood type.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They wanted your blood type in order to get some money
Right.
prior to the pandemic.
Right.
But once the pandemic hit, they changed it up and they loosened up the terms a little bit. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So it made it easier for people to get money that wouldn't have never been able to get money from the SBA because you may have been in jail, or you owe taxes, or,
Right.
Whatever the case may be. There's a lot of, there's a strenuous process when we're talking SBA,
Right.
prior to pandemic. Okay.
Right.
So now, and then it took a long time to get SBA money. You're
Correct.
not just going to get it just like that. Well, Marvin and I have it where we have a program where you can get, as long as you have a 725 credit score, you can get SBA money in how many days, baby?
Yeah, it's like 10 days, less than 10 days.
That's just one.
Right.
That's just one.
Right.
But we have another fund. We have another one that you can get it in, I think they said 2 days, I think it was.
Okay.
Next day funding. I'm sorry.
And with those programs.
Next day funding. And with those programs, Marvin, though, let's be clear on what type of programs these are, okay? So let's tell them what type of programs these are, baby.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to let you share a little bit too, because I've been talking my head off.
The programs that she's speaking of, you got to have a 720 or above. So when you have really great credit, now you can actually get money faster based on your credit score. And so this dispels all the myths that you hear about on social media where people are saying you can get money with no docs. Yeah, you can get vendor credit. You know, there you can get vendor credit where you can get, you know, office supplies. They even have some credit cards that you're able to get, but it's not as many as if you had great personal credit. So I would tell everybody, work on your personal credit as much as possible, because having that higher credit score and your business is making money. Like the number one is having a business that actually makes money.
That is so true.
And somebody asked, is 10,000 a month? Yes, 10,000 a month starts to qualify you when you don't have great credit. It'll get you qualified to get some loans, but you want to get your business in the 7 figures, high 6 figures, and 7 figures. And then if you get, you know, loans, if you're 680 and above, now you increase your chances of actually, you know, getting approved for more. And then you're able to go to more banks and get more funding. Sure. You know, a lot of times you can get no documentation. Let's just say, for example, everybody wants to hear, how do I get no documentation? Mm-hmm. One of the best ways to get documentation is, once again, 680 credit score or higher, and then read the bank's programs.
Most definitely.
Like a lot of this stuff, you know, you can go to the bank, talk to a business advisor, a business banker, and ask them, hey, I'm trying to qualify, you know, for a small business loan. What do I need to do? Traditionally, they'll tell you most loans under 50,000 don't require a lot of documentation. And what I mean by that, they want to make sure that you're current at the Secretary of State.
Most definitely.
They're going to need a copy of your EIN number.
Yes.
And more than likely, have a website, have an email that's a professional email, you know, very and important. Then make sure that you're actually, you know, you're in a position where if they ask for anything, a bank statement or whatever, it's better to be over prepared than under prepared, you know. So, and if you're new in business, you know, we get this question all the time. Hey, can I get a line of credit? I've seen a guy, we had a client one time, he started his business, but here's the catch. He had almost an 800 credit score, and they gave him a business line of credit soon as he opened his bank account because his credit score was so high.
Most definitely. And that's what's important. That's the key right there, Marvin, is setting that good foundation. And that good foundation starts with you, by making sure that you have all the tools in place so that you can set your foundation and you can build up strong. Right. You know?
And then, you know, a business plan. This is another thing I think is a great, you know, tool to have in your toolbox. Mm-hmm. Set up a business plan. Instead of you going to the bank trying to tell a banker what you're trying to do, give him a business plan. If you give them a business plan, I'm telling you, it will change the whole game, because they see that you're serious about your business. You know, and it's one of those things where who would you take more seriously? A guy with a business plan, he's got a copy of his paperwork from the Secretary of State. Mm-hmm. He has a copy of his EIN number and possibly a copy of a bank statement. Which one would you take more seriously? And you got to think about it, talking to a banker, that's what they actually, you know, want to see. They want to see that you're serious about your business, you're organized, and then you'll be surprised. Then the bankers will start telling you about the programs.
Most definitely.
You know, they'll tell you, hey, you know, if you don't have a lot of documentation, then look, keep it under, you know, $50,000. That way, now, if you wanted to, you could possibly go to multiple banks. You know, you could go to multiple banks and actually get approved for multiple lines of credit. But I would keep it around 3 banks in the beginning, because what you don't want to do is have so many inquiries that it takes, you know, a year or two for everybody to stop looking at them. You know, you want to get yourself in a position where you plan this out. Let me tell y'all the biggest mistake that we see business owners make. They get themselves funded one time. It's like,
that's it.
Yeah, they get their business funded one time and then they stop. Yeah. You know, we're teaching people. We have a challenge tonight, actually. Mm-hmm. And we're on what, day 2?
Day 2.
Yeah, we're on day 2 of the challenge. And we're actually showing business owners where they can continue to get themselves funded. Funding shouldn't be something you do one time and you quit. You know what we see business owners do? They get 100, 200,000, and then they just say, all right, I'm done, Marvin, I'm good. You should never be good.
Exactly.
You know, look at what happened during COVID. I used to always think the SBA was a, you know, like, do they really exist? And then when COVID happened, they showed us they exist, but then still a lot of us got left out. Some people got left out. They never got an SBA loan because for the longest, you always thought this was something that wasn't real and it's paper intensive.
Yeah.
You know, to get approved, like Gloria said earlier, to get approved by the SBA is really, really tough. So when you go to these regional banks, credit unions, you got community banks, it may not be as stringent, but they're going to look at your credit score.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So like Marvin said, it's really important to have get yourself in position to win.
Right.
You know, it always starts with you.
Right.
You know, it's not going to show up on your personal credit unless you default.
Exactly.
But they want to know that you pay your personal bills on time. So if you pay your bills on time, they feel like you'll pay this bill on time.
Right.
With the loan that they're extending to you for your business.
Exactly.
You know, so it's really, really important. If you want to open yourself up to more money, to access to more funding,
right,
more programs, more money,
right,
just make sure your personal credit is on point.
Yeah. And then, you know, when we say on point, it's like, make sure that you have large credit limits on your credit cards. So I talked to a guy today. He called me. He was like, Marvin, I want to get 300,000. So I was like, cool. Okay. How long you been in business? He had been in business 4 or 5 years. And then I said, well, what's the highest limit on your credit card? He said, well, the highest limit is 5,000. I said, well, I made one suggestion. I said, look, if I were you, I'd get an authorized user. I get a secured loan. I get something in place where I have a larger limit, because if he's only approved for 5,000, guess what he's going to get every time he gets approved? 5,000. So in order to get bigger approvals, you need to have a limit, an authorized user, a primary. You need to have something on your, on your credit report where you actually have 20,000, 30,000. That's how you can see yourself getting to 200,000 or 300,000 faster. If you got low limits on your credit cards, low limits on your secured loans, I hate to say it, but you're probably going to get low limits when it comes to your approvals.
And you should be asking for increases.
Yeah.
It's really important to ask for increases.
And then, talking about no docs, people always ask, well, what do you do with no docs? So traditionally, first, I would read every application I sign. I'm going to tell y'all that right off the rip. Read the application. Some applications say you can estimate your annual income. Some say, okay, in order to get approved, they may approve you for 10% of your annual income.
Yeah.
So then you do the numbers on that. What does it take for you to get 50,000, 40,000, 30,000? Look at your annual income. Traditionally, they'll give you 10% as a limit for your line of credit or your loan. And then think about this. Most people don't know this, but it's actually easier to get a loan or term loan than it is to get a line of credit. And the reason why, with a loan, they start making interest the day that they approve you, the day that you accept it. Let me say it like that.
Yes.
And then with the line of credit, the banks don't make as much money because you can use it, then you can stop using it. And let's face it, the bank is in the business of making money. Yeah. And the only way they make money is charging you interest.
Most definitely.
And if you guys got any questions, put it in the chat. If you guys got any questions, drop it in the chat so we can answer those questions. But we're talking about business funding, and we're talking about being able to get business funding with no docs. So if you got absolutely amazing credit, and let me tell you, one time, Gloria and I, we knew a lady that worked at Home Depot. She had a high credit score, but I kept asking her, why is it only 720 when she was telling me about her credit? And she said, well, it was one collection she had for $75.
And she didn't want to pay it.
And she did not want to pay it. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, pay those collections off. She said
it wasn't hers and she wasn't paying it because it wasn't hers. She said, I didn't do this. And
right.
I was like, $75.
$75.
Now I said it's better to pay that $75 because you gonna let $75 hold
Stop
you back.
you. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I wouldn't do it. So sometimes you gotta, stop looking at the little things and look at the big picture.
Exactly. And stop coming to us saying that you want money, but you don't want to do anything. Like I listened to Marvin tell a young lady today about her credit. She was like, yeah, she has a business and she want to do all of these things. And Marvin was like, okay, well, what's your personal credit look like? She was like, it's not good. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do.
Right.
Marvin was like, she said, I might file bankruptcy.
Right.
I'm like, Marvin told her, he said, okay, and if you file bankruptcy, that's not going to stop you from working on your credit. So why are you not working on your credit today?
Right.
We're still talking about it.
Right.
Why are you not moving on it today? You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. We keep talking about what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But when are you going to get yourself in position to get to where you're trying to go?
Right. And stop waiting, because each day that goes past, you're losing a day.
Yeah.
You're not prepared, so that if a bank does have a program, and this is another thing, bank programs change all the time. Navy Federal probably, for the last 15 years or more, they would give out $25,000 to just about anybody.
Yeah.
And now it's totally different. You almost got to have an account with Navy Federal for 91 days in order to even have a chance at getting $25,000. This is the first time in years, over the last, I say 2 to 3 years, I've seen people get denied that had pretty decent credit scores. Because you know what it's going to? It's going to having a relationship with the bank, having a relationship with a credit union. They want to see that you're going to keep your money with them in order for them to give you a line of credit or a loan. They're not just giving money out just because you have a high credit score. So I don't want to have everybody thinking, a high credit score is going to give me $300,000. Like the guy today, he kept telling me, he said, Marvin, I want $300,000. And I was like, well, if you only got a $5,000 credit card, it's going to take you a while to get to $300,000.
Right.
And I think all these misconceptions, all these myths are throwing people off and making them think like, hey, I can just get this just because I got this 720 credit score. And that's not the case, because sometimes you can have what we call a thin file.
Yeah.
Your credit could be really thin. And what we mean by that, Gloria normally says like the body of your credit.
So important.
Yeah, like if you don't have accounts that are 4 or 5 years old, if you don't have accounts that are 20, 30,000, then when you go to get approvals, you're going to get low approvals. You're going to get some low approvals. And I don't want you guys fooling yourselves thinking, I can go get $300,000 without using my personal credit. It's not going to happen. I mean, you might get 15 to 20. You might get 15 to 20,000, but you're not going to get $250,000, $300,000 just because you got an 80 Paydex and all this kind of stuff. Because can you get approved with an 80 Paydex? Yeah, you can, but you're not going to get as much as if you got a 720, 800 credit score. So take the time to get rid of those negative items, get rid of those collections.
Most definitely.
And then set your business up to win. Like Gloria talked about earlier, get QuickBooks.
Yeah.
QuickBooks can actually, if you keep your books right, QuickBooks has a line of credit.
Most definitely.
I don't know if anybody really knows that.
Yeah.
QuickBooks can become your merchant. QuickBooks can become
they
ACH.
Have ACH.
Yeah.
They have everything right in there. If you have 1099 employees, contractors, guess what? You can pay them right out of QuickBooks.
Exactly.
If you have vendors that you're working with, you can pay them right out of QuickBooks. Like, it's so much out here that you can use to help you scale your business.
Right.
It's unbelievable. And when Marvin and I, talk about the body of your credit,
right,
it's about what does your credit look like?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Marvin was saying, you can't have no $2,000 credit card and think you about to walk in here and ask these people for $300,000.
Right. It's not going to happen.
Make it make sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Make it make sense. Make sure that you're set up properly straight across the board, so you don't have to worry about this. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? When you go to the bank, when you approach the bank, like when I go to the bank, I can pop my collar.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can pop my collar because I know I've done what I needed to do to get me in the position where I'm trying to go.
Right.
So make a plan.
Yeah. And then plan out 6 months in advance. All right, you did these 3 banks in February. So now
Yes.
plan out in July. Hey, I got 3 more banks
Yes.
that I want to do. But in between February and July, you're putting deposits in. You're making withdrawals. You're actually doing business with them, because they'll look at this and then you'll realize most banks have an internal banking score where they're actually looking at how many transactions have they done with us, how many deposits, how many withdrawals, have they talked to any of our other departments. They want to know, hey, are you trying to establish a relationship? Because once things hit social media, once they hit the internet, they go like crazy. I've seen products come out and shut down within 2 weeks.
Most definitely.
Because you'll get a lot of influencers talking about them. And the next thing you know, now that program is totally gone. So if you want to have a long-term plan for your business, get 3 banks that you build a relationship with. Even if you put $50 a week in the bank or $50 a month, do something to show them that you want to build a relationship with them, because then they'll look at you as a good candidate to give a line of credit or a loan. And then let's talk about the no doc part. So it's easier to get a credit card than it is to get a loan or a line of credit. So if you're thinking like, let me see if I get approved first, try going for the business credit card first, then come back, try for the loan. And then if if your credit is really good, go for the line of credit, because you'll realize banks will give you a actual credit card faster than anything.
Most definitely.
And then talk to them about, I've talked to so many people, babe, last couple of days, where they always want to do real estate and they want to pay cash for it. Why would you pay cash when you can get a real estate loan? You can get a commercial real estate loan, even to buy single family houses. But you got to have a business plan. You got to have some financials if you want this to happen. But if you want to stay under 50,000 and you got a great credit score, you can do no doc all day long. I mean, you can.
And why do one bank when you can do several?
Yep. And then make a plan to do more than just one bank, and then don't go so crazy. You do 10 banks, kind of, get in the middle of the road where you do 3 banks, then in 6 more months, you do 3 more banks. Then in 6 more months, you do 3 more banks. Imagine you got 150 every time you did that. Now in 1 year, if you plan this right, you could have close to $500,000 in 1 year if you planned it right. But I think the first step is everybody has to work on their personal credit.
And let me say this, Marvin.
Okay.
We're not saying, let me give you the disclaimer. We're not telling you to go in debt.
Right. Oh, yeah.
We are not saying
that's a great
go in debt. What we're saying is have money available so when life happens or when situations happen in your business, you're able to handle them.
Right.
A lot of businesses go out of business because they wasn't prepared for when life happens.
Yeah, look at COVID.
Life is life right now.
Yeah, COVID put a lot of people out of business. Now we're experiencing deflation. So we experienced inflation where houses were worth more than they were ever worth in history. Cars were worth a lot. But now we're starting to stabilize and come back down, and it's slowing the economy down. When the government raises the interest rates, guess what it does with the economy? It slows it down. And so now a lot of businesses are experiencing less income this year. I mean, in last year, I would say 2023, they're experiencing less income in 2023 than they did in 2021 and 2022. And you have to prepare for that by saying, hey, let me cut expenses and then let me raise more capital.
Most definitely.
Raising capital will keep you in business. Like Gloria said, we're not telling anybody to go in debt, but what keeps your business alive is money. And if you're not making an income, then you need to look at, I need to borrow some money to buy some time. Then come up with a better plan. Learn how to market better. learn how to do social media. And if you guys are interested, like I said, we're having a challenge tonight. And we have a webinar every Thursday.
Yes.
So make sure y'all check out our link tree on Instagram and on YouTube. Check out the links in the description so you guys can jump on our Thursday night webinar. You can also jump on our challenge that we do once a month. And we've helped so many business owners raise capital. We even got an AI software, if you guys want to take a look at it, if you're experiencing credit problems. So if you're experiencing credit problems, make sure you check out our AI software so that you can take your credit to the next level and don't use credit as an excuse,
exactly,
to not have business funding, because it's too many tools out here now.
It's too
many tools
to
out
help
here.
you scale. It's too many tools.
And don't let bad credit make you experience low self-esteem, or I call it low financial self-esteem. Work on your credit. That's all you got to do. I'm familiar with some of those companies, and I'm familiar with a lot of companies. What I tell you guys now, they got AI software out here that's faster than anybody.
That's true.
Like when I tell you this AI is faster than anybody,
yes,
take time and learn about these AI softwares. You can work on your credit yourself. Like you literally can work on your credit yourself and fix it yourself.
Most definitely.
And then realize that the better you make your credit, the more opportunities open up for you, and the more money that you'll be able to get for your business and make. And just remember, raising capital is the #1 skill that every business owner should learn. I know you want to be good at what you do, but we got to spend more time on raising capital, because the #1 reason that business owners go out of business is lack of capital. You might have the best idea in the world, but you don't have enough money to let the world even know about the idea. So, really focus on learning how to raise capital, get funding, and learn about these programs. I'm not saying don't do your research. Do your research. Learn about raising more capital. Learn about banks that you could go to. I'm just saying don't rush to go to all of them at the same time. Make a plan. Go to 3 banks, wait 6 months, go to 3 more. Wait 6 more months, go to 3 more, and do business with all of them. You should have different accounts. You might have a payroll account. You might have an expense account. You can have an account for your taxes. You can use all of these banks in different ways if you sit down, take your time, and do it. And guess what? Raise more money.
Yes, that is so important.
But all of you guys that want to go to our challenge, check the link in the description. And we'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you guys. See you.